You say
Yeah, what ended up happening was, around 5 years, like you were talking about, I wasn't very happy.
Right.
I was doing all the things that was suggested to the best of my ability. As I remember, I had a service position. I was going to meetings, sponsoring. I had gone through the steps. I was praying to a higher power, and still a lot of negative thinking, a lot of negative self, looking at myself negatively, still a lot of fear and that kind of stuff, a lot of, food consumption and lack of money management. And there's still a lot of unmanageability, and I didn't understand why my life wasn't working out. And the idea of a spiritual malady kept coming up for me. And I didn't have a real good concept of what that meant, right? Because spiritual was always just so elusive to me. It seems so natural for some people, but for me, I had to be able to grab it and hold on to it.
You need something tangible.
And be able to identify it and recreate that for myself, and have your experience be my experience. And when that stuff didn't happen over and over and over again, I found myself at a loss, and I did not want to be sober and miserable, and I did not want to be happy and drunk. The idea that being able to use and drink ever successfully has been lifted from me completely, and it was at that time as well, but I didn't know what to do. And so I decided to, as the best I could, let go of my concepts of God completely. And at the time, it seemed like a pretty logical idea.
Sure.
I tried all the religious prayers as best I could, getting on my knees, praying, looking for answers, looking for signs, listening to other people's experiences, reading the Bible, reading the Book of Mormon. Just everywhere that I could try to grab a hold of this God that didn't work for me, I tried, and when it continued to not work, I had to find something else, and the idea of letting go of it completely came to me, and so I did. I was able to do that through some I don't know what else to call it other than spiritual work, right? Like I did these spiritual things to let go of that. One of the things that helped me out a lot was a book called Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh, and I listened to that over and over again. Another thing that helped me let go of that God idea was going on a walkabout and spending some time alone in the woods in meditation, and then looking into, what is Satanism? What is atheism? What is agnostic? What are all these things that people keep talking about? What would life be like without God? Can I stop praying? I got used to just doing these responsible prayers, like mandatory prayer type prayers. Like I would pray, but it felt like it was mandatory, like I had to do this.
Forced.
Yeah, and so I got used to doing that kind of stuff. And when I came off a mountain, an atheist, it was really good for me, and it was something that I needed. But fast forward, 4 or 5 years, living in atheism without ever saying a single prayer, in sobriety, like I did this in sobriety. Fast forward, no prayer, no connection to a power greater than myself, other than what I believed would work, which was the rooms and the people in it.
The rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah, people in sobriety in general.
Yeah.
What ended up happening, trying fitness, like I got really into fitness and dieting and all these physical activities. I was doing all these physical things. And spiritually, I slowly started getting sick. I found myself in a state of desperation, living in selfishness, which I think is a great definition of alcoholism, right? And selflessness is a great definition of treated alcoholism. Like when I'm able to see you past myself, right? And so I needed to go through that stuff, man, so that I could get a clear understanding that the alcohol was definitely, truly not the problem. Right? Because up until that point of a second surrender, going through 5 years and coming up on 10 years and going through that state of darkness while sober and not having a solution for it, the people weren't working, the meetings weren't working, the meditation wasn't working, the exercise wasn't working, the diet plan wasn't working, saving money, spending money, none of the stuff that was working for the previous 4 years was working. I was left with the only solution that I could possibly grab a hold of was that there's something that I'm missing. And when I go back and I look through like Charlie's 4 pillars of sobriety, that make long-term sobriety, I had the community, I had the program, right? I had somewhere to be, all those things. And the one thing that continually popped up that I was missing was the connection with the power greater than myself.
Right.
And I was basically spiritually forced into a position of willingness to go, fuck, I'm absolutely living in alcoholism. Everything in my life feels the same as it did when I was drinking. The only thing I'm not doing is drinking.
Mm-hmm.